Morning everyone, how are you? I'm recording this assembly today for you. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about something and then I'm going to read you a book about it. The book is one that I think you'll know. It's written by Oliver Jeffers, who you all know really well because you've been reading one of his other books for the last week and a bit or 2 weeks. And I really love this book. I really love Oliver Jeffers, as lots of you know already. And I've got my own signed version of this book, which I'm going to show to you a little bit later. It was signed for my daughter, so I'll show you a picture of that. But I'm going to read you the book as well. And the book is called Lost and Found, and I think that the message of the book is really clear. But I'm not going to talk to you about that at the start of this. I'm not going to tell you why I've chosen it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read it and I'm going to try and give you some time for you to think about what the message might be about and for you to think about why I've chosen it today. And then at the end, I'll talk to you about it then. Okay, I'm going to read now. Bye. Okay, so Lost and Found by Oliver Jeffers. As I've said, I love this book. I love the cover and I love this end page here. It's beautiful. Once there was a boy, and one day he found a penguin at his door. You can see him there finding the penguin. The boy didn't know where it had come from, but it began to follow him everywhere. The penguin looked sad and the boy thought it must be lost. I think Oliver Jeffers has done a really good job there of making the penguin look sad. I think he looks absolutely devastated. So the boy decided to help the penguin find its way home. He checked the Lost and Found office, but no one was missing a penguin. He asked some birds if they knew where the penguin came from, but they ignored him. Some birds are like that. The boy asked his duck, but the duck floated away. He didn't know. That night the boy couldn't sleep for disappointment. He wanted to help the penguin, but he didn't know how. The next morning he discovered that penguins come from the South Pole. But how could he get there? The next bit that we're about to read is my favourite bit of this book. I think is brilliant. So let's have a look at how him and the penguin got there. How would you get to the South Pole, I wonder? He ran down to the harbour and asked the big ship to take them to the South Pole, but his voice was much too small to be heard over the ship's horn. You can see him down the bottom there with the penguin, can't you, trying to shout up. I think this page shows what a brilliant person the boy is because of his genius idea of what they do. So together, he and the penguin would row to the South Pole. The boy took his rowboat out of his cupboard and he tested it for size and strength. They packed everything they would need. What can you see that they've packed? Is that what you think you'd need if you went to the South Pole? I'm not so sure. And together they pushed the rowboat out to sea. Again, what a beautiful illustration by Oliver Jeffers there. They rowed south for many days and nights, the boy telling stories all the way. The penguin listened to everything the boy said. They floated through good weather and bad when the waves were as big as mountains. Until they finally came to the South Pole. The boy was delighted, but the penguin said nothing. Suddenly, he looked sad again as the boy helped him out of the boat. The boy said goodbye and floated away, but as he looked back, the penguin looked sadder than ever. It felt strange to be on his own, and the more he thought, the more he realised he was making a big mistake. The penguin wasn't lost, he was just lonely. What do you think the boy's going to do now? What would you do if you thought that somebody was lonely? Quickly he turned the boat around and headed back to the South Pole as fast as he could. Oh dear, look at the picture. What can you see happening in the picture? Oliver Jeffers has drawn some arrows on there that help you understand what's going on. At last he reached the pole again, but where was the penguin? The boy searched and searched, but he was nowhere to be found. Sadly, the boy set off for home. There was no point telling stories because there was no one to listen except the wind and the waves. But then the boy saw something in the water ahead of him. Closer and closer he got until he could see the penguin. Look at what the penguin's rowing in. He's rowing in the umbrella. Ah, they've met each other again. Fantastic. And so the boy and his friends went home together, talking of wonderful things all the way. So, I finished reading the book now. What I want you to do is I want you to, either in your classrooms or at home, depending on where you are, I want you to spend a bit of time now having a think about what the message of that book might be, having a think about what that book's about. I know that not all of us have had the pleasure of finding a penguin on our doorstep and then having to row to the South Pole, but that doesn't mean we can't learn something from this book. So I'm going to give you some time now to have a little think about that. What I'm going to do is on the screen I'm going to show you a picture of the signed part of my book, and I'm going to give you 5 or so seconds to think about what might this book be about, and then I'm going to tell you what I think it's about. You've had your time now. I hope you liked the sign-in. I really like the fact that Oliver Jeffers drew a little penguin on the book for Bella. That was really nice of him. So, what I think that book's about is I think that book's about what it means to be a good friend. The boy kept trying to do things to cheer up the penguin because he could see, he could read, he could infer by looking at the penguin that the penguin wasn't feeling very well or wasn't feeling very good about himself. So the boy consistently tries to be a good friend. He's really resilient. When no one can help him, he keeps trying and keeps trying, going to new people to think about it. He then uses a book, so he's resourceful. He uses a book to help him find out more about penguins. He then tries on his own to do something. He checks that the rowboat works. He makes a plan in his head, and then he rows all the way there. So I think the boy in the book is a fantastic friend, but also shows us some of our Arbot skills that are so important. Now, at the moment, there might be some of us who are feeling a bit lonely, like the penguin. I know that I've been feeling a bit lonely because I've not been leaving my house. So today, for example, my daughter's not here, my wife's not here, I'm here on my own all day. So I could start feeling a bit lonely. So if you're feeling like that, that's okay. Hopefully someone else in school will be able to be a really good friend like the boy in the book. If you're not feeling lonely, fantastic. What you need to do is see if you can understand how people are feeling by looking at them, by trying to read their expressions like the boy did with the penguin. Also, you can ask them, because people can speak unlike penguins. You can ask them how they're feeling, and if they're feeling a bit down, you can try and cheer them up in lots of different ways. The boy ends up cheering the penguin up just by being a good friend and talking to him. So maybe that's all you need to do too. Just have a chat to your friends to make sure they're okay. Right, the sun's shining. Have a lovely weekend, everyone, and I will see you on Monday because I'll be back in school. Brilliant. Bye-bye.